limpio. So now I will try to share the video. Let's see. Wait a minute. There's the video and sale of goods and supply. This is the one. More. Share sound. Yes. Now you should tell me whether you can listen to it.
Some basics of the sale.
You can listen to it?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So it is 4 minutes. If it is too long, I will close it. Okay.
Today I want to take a look at some essentials, some basics of the Sale of Goods and Supply of Services Act 1980. So let's take a look. The key and significant point to understand about the 1980 Act is that it implies certain terms into every contract. So whether the contract is for the sale of goods or the supply of services, certain terms are implied. In relation to the sale of goods, 1. The seller's right to transfer ownership, that is, that he has good title, is implied into the contract. 2. The goods shall correspond with their description. In other words, there's not going to be some sort of a switch and bait situation where you describe one thing and supply something else. A third implied term that's implied into every contract, courtesy of the Sale of Goods and Supply of Services Act 1980, is that the goods will be of merchantable quality, except where defects were brought to the buyer's attention or defects should have been noticed on examination before the contract was made. Merchantable quality, then, are essentially goods which are fit for the purpose intended. The fourth implied term into every contract with regard to the sale of goods is that if there's a sale by sample, there's an implied term that the bulk will correspond with the sample in respect of quality. When it comes to
well, can you listen to me? Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, up to this point, he's talking about one act. Remember that acts son las leyes. An act. Act from when? Do you remember? From which year?
No, I don't. Sorry.
Oh, okay. He's talking about an 1980 Act. Yes, 1980 Act in Ireland. It is not Argentina, it is not the UK, it's Ireland. And he's talking about something that is called implied terms. What could be implied terms?
Implícito.
Yes.
That are not expressed in the contract.
Yes, and even though they are not expressed in the contract, they come from the law and they apply. I think that it could be represented in Argentina by what in Argentina we call ¿cómo lo llamamos acá?
Orden público.
Orden público, una, o si no las otras que se llaman las condiciones subsidiarias, que cuando no están escritas, por lo menos la ley lo dice, aunque no esté escrito, condiciones subsidiarias dispuestas por la ley. That could be the implied terms. And what could be the sale by sample that he says there? Juan Ignacio, do you imagine a sale by sample? What is a sample?
¿Una muestra?
Eso es digamos, en inglés común, es una muestra. A sample es un ejemplo de algo que se usa en el control de calidad. That's a sample. But in this case, in the case of texts, samples are
un borrador,
un borrador, o they are lo que decimos los contratos firmados por adhesión, porque nos presentan un sample y nos llenan con pequeños datos que faltan. That's a sample, sale by sample. Yes? So we go on with the recording.
essentially goods which are fit for the purpose intended. The fourth implied term into every contract with regard to the sale of goods is that if there is a sale by sample, there's an implied term that the bulk will correspond with the sample in respect of quality. When it comes to exclusions, in relation to the sale of goods, any term excluding the implied terms will be void where the buyer acts as a consumer. However, where the buyer is not acting as a consumer, then there can only be an exclusion where it is fair and reasonable. This would be the situation where one business is buying from another business. The first business or the vendor business can exclude certain terms provided.
So in that case, could you listen to him? He says that it depends whether it's from one company to another company or whether it's from one company to a consumer. What happens in that case? And that the implied terms come into action. What happens? Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes.
I repeat it. I repeat it. I repeat it. It takes into account el orden público, as Maria said.
There's an implied term that the bulk will correspond with the sample in respect of quality. When it comes to exclusions, in relation to the sale of goods, any term excluding the implied terms will be void where the buyer acts as a consumer. However, where the buyer is not acting as a consumer, then there can only be an exclusion where it is fair and reasonable. This would be the situation where one business is buying from another business. The first business or the vendor business can exclude certain terms provided they are fair, or the exclusion is fair and reasonable, and obviously the purchasing business would have an opportunity to negotiate and say, no, I don't accept that, or yes, I do accept that.
So what did he say? Remember that when he says it's purchaser, he pronounces it in an Irish fashion. It's purchaser, to purchase, comprar, purchase. And he says, I don't know how he pronounces it. It's purchase. Yes. So what did he say? There's the banner, exclusions. What did he say about exclusions and implied terms? Who can explain it?
He says that.
Okay. Yes. Tell me, Maria.
That when in a contract there's a clause that excludes an implied term, if it's a consumer, it will be void. But if it is I don't know, another una empresa, how do I say it? A company, or it's not a consumer, it will not be void, but it has to be fair and reasonable.
Yes, exactly. So here we have some terms: the implied terms, express terms, and there's all the express terms by opposition. Yes, and consumer is another term. Fair and reasonable. Remember the repetitions: fair and reasonable. The idea of void. What is void?
Nulo.
Nulo, exactly. Nulo. So I go on.
The purchasing business would have an opportunity to negotiate and say, no, I don't accept that, or yes, I do accept that. When it comes then to the supply of services, the implied terms are: 1, the supplier has the necessary skill to supply the service. 2, he or she will provide the service with skill and diligence. 3, materials used, if there is any materials being used in the provision of the service, will be sound and reasonably fit for the purpose intended. And 4, where goods are supplied under the contract, they will be of merchantable quality. When it comes to an exclusion or a variation, Where the recipient is a consumer, the implied terms can only be excluded where it is fair and reasonable to do so, and only if the exclusion is brought to the attention of the consumer. Where the recipient is not a consumer, then the exclusion clause can be used by a course of dealing between the parties, or by usage, or indeed by negotiation between the parties, who obviously, if they're both businesses, should be able to negotiate satisfactorily and competently on their own behalf. Other consumer legislation that you must consider if you have any issue would be the Consumer Protection Act 2007. There is European Communities Misleading Advertising Regulations of 1988. There's European Communities Regulations of 1989 to do with the cancellation of contracts negotiated away from the business premises. There's the Liability for Defective Products Act of 1991. There's European Communities Regulations 95 and 2000. There is the Consumer Credit Act. There is the Package Holiday and Travel Trade Act. And there's the European Communities Regulations 2003. I'm Terry Gorry. I'm a solicitor in Enfield in County Meath. I hope you find this brief introduction to the Sale of Goods and Supply of Services Act 1980 useful. If you do, you might give it a thumbs up down below because it gives me a good degree of encouragement. Thank you.
So sweet.
Qué buen marketing.
So sweet.
I'm Prof. Woz, and I'm Nurse Liz,
Como
and you'll
poeta.
see.
Ahí está. So sweet he was.
Buen
Are you there?
marketing tiene.
Yes, yes. How was the expression? It gives me a good deal of I don't know what did he say?
Yeah, it's the same with me. If you go to my channel and you like and subscribe, it helps me a lot.
No,
Do
a
it,
good deal of
please.
encouragement. I don't know how he said. Well, how was it? And I also liked the final summary of a lot of regulations as regards Europe and Ireland. Yes. So did you enjoy it or not? Tell me yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, now I'm going to share the document that I sent you, and we will work with that. This is Sale of Goods. Know that this is part of the ILEC book. And remember that I have told you all that ILEC was quite difficult. Nothing in common with tolls. So, but this is also because we are in a higher level. So this is it calls also the term and the contract sale of goods. We will try to read this introduction and the activity. For instance, it says, reading 1, Introduction to Sale of Goods Legislation. The following text gives an overview of the area of the law. Remember, it's an area of the law. The area of the law, in fact, is contract law, and a sub area of the law is sale of goods, which relates to the sale of goods. This can relate to a wide variety of transactions, from buying something tangible in a shop or on the internet to paying for a service, such as repairs. So, Juan Ignacio, could you read the assignment? Read through.
Yes.
¿Puedes agrandarlo, Adela?
Let's say. Oh,
En el más.
yes. Can you read?
Yes. Read through the text quickly and complete the sentences below using the words in the box. Contracts, disclaimers, exclusions, title, transfer, and warranties.
Warranty. So first of all, we should read the text, and then we should fill in the gaps there. So Juan Ignacio, tell me, read the 2 first paragraphs.
Okay. The sale of goods entails a broad area of the law which is largely governed by legislation. Where an aspect of the law is not regulated by legislation, it is governed by the common law or often by general principles of law in non-common law jurisdictions. The applicable legislation sets forth the nature of what is involved in the sale of goods. Naturally, this includes definitions of what constitutes a sale of goods, a sale and goods.
Good.
A sale entails the transfer of title in a good from the seller to the buyer. Goods can be defined broadly as some type of tangible chattel. Application of the legislation depends upon the type of sale, whether the seller is a merchant or not, and if the seller is a merchant, whether he's trading in the course of his usual business.
Maria, the 2 second paragraphs.
Okay. The aspects of sale of goods governed by legislation include such things as contract formation, price, passage of title, warranties of title, implied warranties, express warranties, disclaimers of warranties, remedies for breach of warranty, delivery and acceptance of goods, and the passing of risk. The principal relevant legislation in the UK is the Sale of Goods Act 1979, including its amendments. Contract formation in this context includes the requirements applied to contracts in general with some added details such as agreements implied by conduct of the parties. The price to be paid for the goods is usually set forth in the agreement, but in some instances, relevant legislation will determine the price if the term is left out. At the very least, the buyer is generally required to pay a reasonable price. Contractual provisions concerning the transfer of title dictate when good title is transferred. For example, for example, between a person who has possession but not title to a third-party buyer. Generally, good title cannot be transferred to a third party from a person not authorized to do so by the holder of title. Naturally, aspects of good faith and apparent authority come into play in this context.
Thomas, are you there? Is there Thomas? Yes? Thomas? Well, then when Thomas comes, he will explain to us the difference between transfer and why we should change the pronunciation. Okay, now, yes, 2 more paragraphs. Romina, please.
Okay. Different warranties play a major role in the sale of goods. Implied warranties are such warranties which do not need to be expressed, but which the law implies. Some of these types of warranties would include warranties of title, fitness for a particular purpose, and quality or mercantility. Many times, the application of the latter 2 types of warranty depends upon the type of sale. For example, sales by sample, and whether the seller is a merchant acting in the course of business. Express warranties are warranties which are specifically stated either in writing or orally, as the case may be. Under many statutory provisions, an express warranty cannot negate an implied warranty of the relevant legislation. A common feature of legislation governing the sale of goods is to restrict the ability to limit warranty liability through exclusions or disclaimers in the contract.
Okay, stop there, please. Thomas, can you explain to us why we should change the pronunciation between transfer and transfer? What is a noun? What is a verb? And you know that. And there are many other verbs like that.
Well, it's because of something called conversion. It's when you convert a a verb into a noun and the other way around, a noun into a verb. It's the same, and so you change the pronunciation. You call it transfer or to transfer as well. But
What is the
when
verb
it's
and what is the noun?
what
What
gives
is the
you
verb?
the hint that is a verb, it's the to infinitive. When you say to transfer, that means it's a verb, and if you say the transfer, it often means that it's a noun.
Well, the thing is that when we read the verb, we should remember and we should put the accent in the second one, in the last one, in the last.
The stress.
Yes, the stress, sorry, in the last syllable. Yes, there are other examples like that.
Yes, and
Tell
you're
me.
supposed to change your pronunciation of the
Yes.
but well, that's more complicated. You can either use the or the o.
But because probably you know other examples. If you were come to one other example, tell us please. So we go on with the reading. Tatiana, could you read the two last paragraphs, please? Another.
Yes. Another general aspect of this type of legislation is to regulate performance between the parties. Aspects covered in this area would include delivery and acceptance, inspection by the buyer's right to refuse acceptance and return of goods, an international convention, which should be particularly mentioned in this context, is the United Nations Convention of Contracts for the International Sale of Goods Act, the CISG.
Yes.
CISG. CISG.
Yes.
The convention sets forth rules that govern contracts for the international sale of goods and takes into consideration different social, economic, and legal systems to remove legal barriers and foster the development of international trade.
Right. Remember this performance. Performance. Yes.
Performance.
Yes. The stress is on the O. Performance.
Yeah, the problem is that everyone pronounces it incorrectly, so it's not her fault.
Yes. In Argentina, they say, ay, la performance, o cualquier, en español dicen, ay, la performance, o la performance.
In Spain, it's the same.
Yes, but in English, it's performance, because the verb is to perform. So if the verb is to perform, the noun is performance. That's it. So we can go back to this activity and fill in the gaps, maybe. So, Juan Ignacio, read the first one, please. A sale.
A sale can be defined as the of in a good.
A sale.
Title of transfer.
Yes, transfer of title. Transfer of title. Transfer of title. Yes?
Transfer of title.
Yes. Remember that you correctly said, at first, you said that you had studied something related to the RRT, the retention of title. You said so. So in the case of a retention of title clause, there's no proper sale until the transfer of title is done, I think. So a sale can be defined as the transfer of title in a good. Okay. Second, Maria, implied?
Yes. Implied do not need to be expressed as they are implied by law.
Oh, obviously.
Maybe warranties?
Implied warranties. Yes, I think so. Well, Romy, the third one.
Two means of limiting warranty liability are blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. exclusions,
and
disclaimers.
Disclaimers. You know that disclaimers, we all the time we find disclaimers whenever we try to contract something by the internet or through the internet, sorry. So all the time there's a letra chica, there's a little message under the contract, and they are probably a disclaimer. So Tatiana, the fourth one.
The CISG sets forth rules that govern contracts of the international contracts for the international sale of goods.
Okay, it's international. Con A.
International.
And another thing to point out is it says sets forth. It's a very good phrasal verb for legal English, because sets forth is establishes, orders, that's sets forth. A regulation sets forth certain activities, certain type of behaviors. So, ¿qué es set forth? What is set forth?
What is set forth?
What is
Establecer, no.
Establecer, exactly. Establecer, yes. Set forth, establecer, is the same as establishes, states, es con S, empezando con S. States that, establece que, o dice que, states that, sets forth. And sets forth is particularly for a type of regulation. For instance, an act sets forth an obligation. An ordinance, las ordinances son las que establecen, por ejemplo, el Centro Común Europeo, ellos emiten ordenanzas, ordinance. An ordinance sets forth rules. Entonces proviene de una norma general que establece pequeñas normas, obligaciones o derechos. Sets forth. That's sets forth. So you should take notes of this verb, which is a phrasal verb and it's typical from legal English. So that activity we have completed. Now we have a matching activity here. We have some terms at the left part, and then the definitions at the right part. At the left, I have express warranty. What? Tell me, Rami?
No, antes de seguir, quedé con dos palabras que no sé qué significan de lo anterior.
Bueno,
Foster y chattel.
¿Cuál? Ah, chattel.
Ajá, y chattel.
La primera no escucho. ¿Qué es?
Foster.
Foster. Ah, foster. Foster es fomentar.
Ah, fomentar. No,
Pero también foster, mira cómo es la cosa, nada que ver. Foster en el ámbito de los niños y qué sé yo. Foster es como adoptivo.
Ah.
Sería foster kid,
Surrogate.
a foster family, a surrogate, como adoptivo, de reemplazo. That's foster. Va como verbo, to foster, es
Means to
fomentar.
promote.
What? Tell me, Thomas. What?
To promote.
What?
To
Promote.
promote is a synonym
Promote.
for.
I couldn't understand because I think that I have a low connection here. So, and chattel es los bienes en general.
Okay.
Tangible chattel son los bienes, también son goods, and tangible chattel. Y que se dice chattel, así abriendo la boca como si fuera una sonrisa. Chattel.
Okay.
Los bienes en general. Chattel. Yes?
Okay.
To foster and chattel.
Yeah.
Something else? Any other question? No? Okay.
No.
Well, another one. Another activity. This is a matching activity. So on the left we have been talking about this. Express warranty, implied warranty, warranty of fitness. I love that thing. It seems to be the fitness after the going to the gym, but it's not fitness. In this case, fitness is the ability of one chattel or one good to fit into the needs of the consumer or to fit into the needs of who buys it. That's fitness. La calidad por lo que yo lo compré. Fitness, que sea apropiado justo por lo que yo lo compré. If not, it does not have enough fitness. Warranty of fitness and warranty of merchantability. Merchantability, probably, I have not read the definitions here, but merchantability is the ability to be sold, because merchant is comercial, sold. Warranty of title, breach of warranty, and disclaimer warranty. Who can do the first one? A, for instance. Who can read A? Maria, a volunteer?
Yes. A warranty that the goods being sold are suitable for the purpose for which the buyer is purchasing them.
Okay. What is the option for that? A?
No, perdón.
That's A. What
Warranty
number?
of fitness?
Warranty of
Three.
fitness. Yes, I think so, because it's
Es justo lo que
suitable for the
explicaste
purpose.
recién.
Yes. Well, sorry, I gave the hint. Well, B. Juan Ignacio, can you read B?
A warranty that the seller of the goods owns them. For example, the goods have not been stolen or are already sold to someone else.
Okay. What would be that number?
Five.
5, warranty of title. Perfectly well. Yes. Yes, Juan Ignacio, I think so. Well, C. Romy, C.
Okay. A violation of a warranty when the goods do not comply in some regard with an express or implied promise at the time of sale.
Remember, it's promise.
Okay,
Promise.
mm-mm.
And another verb here, comply in some regard with, comply with. The verb is comply with, no cumple con, comply with.
Mhm.
Tell me.
6.
So that's C.
Yes.
And what number?
6, she said.
6. Ah, okay, breach of warranty.
Breach of
Warranty violation. Yes, because it's about violation, so it's a breach. Okay. D. Tatiana, can you read it?
Yes. A spoken or written promise made
Yes.
by the seller about the quality
Quality,
performance
Yes.
performance or other
Very good, yeah.
consideration concerning the goods covered by the contract, which would affect the buyer's decision to purchase.
Yes. To purchase. Yes. Tell me. Spoken or written promise.
Spoken or express warrant.
Express warranty. Yes, Tatiana, you're bound to get a lawyer degree, Tatiana. Okay. Okay. So D is 1. So Juan Ignacio, E.
A negation or restriction of the rights under a warranty given by a seller to a buyer.
Yes.
I am not sure. Maybe 4.
I think it's 7.
Disclaimer, I think.
A disclaimer, because it's not only a negation but a restriction. Restriction of the rights and the warranty is a disclaimer. So in that sense, it's a disclaimer warranty. Yes. Okay. F. Maria.
Yes. A warranty that the goods being sold are of a quality that generally conforms to ordinary standards of similar goods sold under similar circumstances.
Okay.
Maybe
It's a
that is
warranty.
warranty of merchantability.
Yes, I think so. It's merchantability. Yes. But the thing is that I would say that a warranty of merchantability es la capacidad de que esté en el comercio, diríamos nosotros en español. Que esté en el comercio, que se pueda vender, que no esté restringido, que se pueda vender porque, por ejemplo, no esté embargado, que no esté... But in this case, they say that warrant of merchantability refers to the quality that conforms ordinary standards of the of similar goods. Well, take into account that probably is a false friend, because for us, merchantability could be estar en el comercio, poder venderse, but for them, it takes into account the quality and some standards. So the last one, G, Romy.
A warranty which is not explicitly stated, but that is imposed by the law due to the nature of the transaction, implied warranty.
Implied warranty. Remember that the speaker told us about implied what? What did he say? I don't remember. Who can say?
And common law.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was talking about common law, but he talked about implied. Romy, do you remember?
Yes.
Implied what? The lawyer. Implied terms. I think that he told us about implied terms. Yes, okay. Well, last one. Buying and selling. Complete the table below using the words in the box. So there are some words there. Who can read the words? Juan Ignacio, could you read the words, please?
Yes. Commodity, consumer, customer, to deal in, merchandise, merchant, to offer for sale, to pay for, to purchase, purchaser, retailer, supplier, vendor, and worse.
Excellent, Juan Ignacio, that you say to purchase and purchaser. I don't know why, but it's perfectly said, to purchase and purchaser. Isn't it, Thomas? Please tell us the stress.
Purchase is okay. Purchaser doesn't exist. But
Oh,
well,
yes,
I'm not going to.
It is there, please, Thomas. Purchaser.
Yes.
Purchaser is the buyer. Purchase is the buyer. Yes. So we should fill in the chart with some words. For instance, related to the act of buying. What are the words related to the act of buying? The act of buying, eh?
To pay for?
To pay for, yes, is buying because you have to pay. What else? One verb that Juan Ignacio said.
To purchase?
To purchase is correct because to purchase is to buy something in a more formal way. What else? I think that's okay. Well, words related to the act of selling.
Purchaser?
No, because afterwards the chart talks about persons. Now only the act of selling.
To offer for sale.
Yes, that's to offer for sale.
Vendor, maybe?
No, but that's one person.
Act.
Maybe
and
to
goes
deal in.
another part.
To deal in.
To deal with, to deal in, yes. Acts of selling.
Merchandise?
sale.
No?
Leila, I found the correct pronunciation.
Tell us, please.
I'm going to share the screen.
Okay, go on.
I cannot do it.
Yes. Okay, I will stop sharing, and then you go on, and I give you the host. Tomás, host, make host. Make host. I will make you co-host. Co-host there.
Do you want to stop recording?
No, please go on if you can.
Right,
I'm
not so
made you
sure.
co-host. Tell us.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Let's see. Do you see this?
Yes, tell us.
Purchaser,
Purchaser.
Can you repeat?
purchaser,
Purchaser.
Purchaser.
Purchaser. So the stress is on the first one.
purchaser,
Purchaser. And
Yes.
to purchase is correct. To purchase.
To purchase.
Ahí vamos a ver. Purchase.
purchase,
Purchase. Purchaser and purchase. In both
No,
cases.
it's purchase. Purchase.
Purchase.
purchase,
Purchase. In the two cases, the stress goes in the first one. Purchase and
Yes.
purchase.
Yes, but the thing that confuses everyone is the chase, and it's not chase, it's purchase.
Purchase.
purchase,
And purchaser.
Purchase and purchaser. Okay.
Everyone repeat. Remember.
purchaser,
Purchaser.
Purchaser.
purchase,
Purchase. Purchase.
Purchase.
Well, very good. Let's see.
La schwa al final.
Yes.
¿Saben ustedes qué es schwa? ¿Saben lo que es la schwa? Do you know what schwa is? Juan Ignacio and Romy and Maria, the schwa?
Very little people know.
Yes?
It's a
Juan Ignacio, do you
secret.
know the schwa?
I think so.
Okay. Thomas, can you explain it in 2 words or in 2 lines, please? Not a long explanation.
Two lines. It's a silent
Sure.
vowel.
Silent word.
Silent vowel that it's so hard to pronounce for us Spanish speakers to pronounce.
Because
And I'm
What
not
is
so
it?
sure for Russian speakers, but for Spanish speakers, it's extremely hard to pronounce.
we clarify, Tatiana is Russian. That's why we say Russian. Tatiana is
Yeah,
Russian.
that's why
Yeah.
I'm not so sure if it's hard for Russian people, but for Spanish speakers, it's extremely hard.
Because the schwa is that's It's not a e, I, o, u. No, it's So it's purchase.
Purchase.
Purchase. No, me sale purchase.
Purchase.
There is any
Purchase.
difference between US pronunciation and UK pronunciation
Tell us.
of these words? Purchase.
Purchase. Purchase. So it's purchase.
That's the magic
it's
of
the same.
accent.
Okay. Well,
Very good.
that's it. I finished my activity.
Well,
Yes.
so shall I start?
Yes, please. Start up and I go on with my part, please. Or okay, yes. So I finished my activity. So words related to the act of selling. the act of selling, you have, ¿qué tenemos acá? Act of selling, to deal with selling, offer for sale. Well, words for buyers of goods. Words for buyers of goods. Ahí vamos a ver personas. Words for buyers of goods. Whose persons we have there? Tell me.
Customer,
Customer.
Customer is a buyer, yes.
consumer,
Consumer, and esta que estuvimos viendo recién.
purchaser.
Purchaser. Purchaser. Es difícil la E. Purchaser.
Because it's a French sound.
La E. Purchase. Yes. Entre la per. Escúchame, Tomás. Entre la per, que es una. ¿Cómo se llamaba esa? La E larga. ¿Cómo se llamaba esa? Haceme acordar. La del,
It hasn't got a name.
bueno, la E larga. Per, que es una como si fuera una cosa. Per. Y la otra que es una schwa. Purchaser. Nos vuelve loco. Purchaser. Purchaser. Bueno, words for sellers of goods. Sellers.
Supplier.
Supplier. What is a supplier, Juan Ignacio? Can you explain that?
It's like a person that supplies something to someone.
For
Like
instance, a
give something
distributor.
to someone.
For instance, the distributor of the retailer. There comes the retailer. Yes, the distributor of the mayorista, the supplier. What else? Words for sellers of goods. What
Retailer
else? Retailer. What is a retailer, Romy?
is someone who sells goods
In which way?
al por mayor, ¿no?
No.
¿No? Ah, al revés.
Al revés.
Al revés.
Al por menor. Yes.
Yes.
So, retailer, supplier, who else? Sellers of goods. Tatiana?
Maybe
Any other
merchandise, merchandiser, no, merchandise.
Merchandise
I
is
don't
a verb. That's a verb. But there
but we don't use it as a
No.
sort.
No, but after merchandise, you have another verb there, another term there.
Vendor.
Merchant. Vendor, a vendor, a merchant. That's another seller of goods. And words for goods. Understand? Words for goods.
Y ahí sí, merchandise.
Where's?
Where's, if I don't remember it incorrectly, where's are the places where you keep the goods, los almacenes. Those are where's.
No, that's a warehouse, I think.
Ah, that's warehouse.
Warehouse.
So where's, you're correct. Where's are goods too.
Where's
Thank you. Where's
the translators, it says the mercancías.
mercancía. So okay, thank you. Where's, what else? Goods.
Merchant.
Commodity.
Commodity. What is a commodity?
Commodity.
Sí, pero que sería commodity.
I think that it can be used as a price.
Claro, todo lo que se vende a granel y que...
Un granel. Yes. Lo que diríamos en español, bienes fungibles y en cantidad.
Claro,
Commodity.
sí.
Y además en Argentina se usa commodity for the grains that they sell. Commodity. So for goods are commodity, wares, what else? I think that's all. I think that there are not
Or
many other.
merchandise.
Merchandise. Yes.
Merchant.
Or merchandising sería.
Merchandising. Well, I think that's okay. Well, that was all for sale of goods. y porque además se agota el tema, es reaburrido, pero quería traer la parte. Y en realidad también, in fact, I would like also to talk about consumer law, because I think that consumer law has to do with vulnerable people. The same happens in Argentina. The consumer law in Argentina is the vulnerable people from commercial law in Argentina. That's why I mostly like consumer law rather than commercial law in general. Well, what is your opinion as regards the sale of goods? Tell me something that you learned today. Romy?
Yo aprendí bastante. Es como que tenía muchas cosas esto que nos dice.
Yes, the same happens last week. Last Friday, we talked about human rights during our human rights lesson last Friday, and I took one part from employment law from ILEC, every time ILEC, and we talked about employment law and the rights of the people that are employees and etc. And the same, the students said the same, that it brings a lot of vocabulary and exercises as regards vocabulary. Juan Ignacio, what is your opinion? What do you bring from this part of the lesson? Tell me.
I think that it is similar to, this part is similar to Spanish.
Yes.
I think that it is similar. Maybe there are other sections of law that are different, but this one is similar.
Okay, and you have studied a bit of that from other experiences from you. Tell me.
Yes, when I studied Derecho Comercial.
Okay, you were talking about that from your Spanish background.
Yes.
Not from English, not in English. You have not studied this in English.
Maybe a little when I studied for the foundation exam. I remember the word retailer, for example.
Yes. Okay. Well, another thing. Have you had the opportunity to think about the toes higher and the possibilities to sit for that?
Yes, I had to ask you how to pay it, but I
español porque hablemos de español porque tiene más logística.
No, sí, yo lo quiero rendir, después tengo que preguntarte para pagarlo, pero sí, si querés después, porque si no me voy a olvidar, te pregunto hoy o mañana y así ya vemos cómo.
Dale. Sí, así vamos preparando el pequeño grupito para que podamos rendir. Se rinde, creo que yo les he puesto hoy, no me acuerdo si es el 23 o el 24, ese es el día que se rinde, y vamos a ir preparando un grupito, seamos los que seamos, y si lo hacemos con tiempo, lo podemos pagar así hasta ahora ya tienen que ser, no sé si 2 o 3 cuotas, pero si lo hacemos por lo menos cada 20 días, sí podrían ser 3 cuotas. Le aclaro a Tatiana, que no tiene ni idea de qué estamos hablando. Se trata, Tatiana, de un examen internacional sobre inglés jurídico. Igual, Tatiana, si vos querés rendir un examen sobre inglés en general, tengo la oferta también del examen PATH, se llama PATH. Es un examen que es un lindo examen, llega hasta B2 Forward, o sea, casi C1, que es un nivel First Certificate and CAE. Ese sería, se puede pagar también en cuotas, en español, iba a decir, en pesos, y tenemos la conexión con la empresa que se llama PATH Examinations, y lo lindo de PATH es que se puede rendir, por ejemplo, podés rendir el escrito en un nivel, el oral en otro nivel, así según el nivel que vos manejes mejor, si hablando sos mejor que escribiendo o viceversa, en inglés. Así que si te interesa también te podemos dar PATH, Tatiana, que es inglés común, no inglés legal. Eso también tenemos.
Información.
Porque Tatiana, vos te estabas preparando para irte en Estados Unidos, me decías.
Yo ya no sé porque no pude recibir visa, digamos, me estaba rechazada la visa y yo No sé si lo puedo o no.
Bueno, te va a tener que volver a San Luis, Tatiana, listo. Volvete a San Luis, que acá te recibimos así con los brazos abiertos. Y Tatiana se ha recibido, no sé si saben ustedes, decirnos el título ese que tenés tan lindo.
¿Cómo? Disculpe.
¿De qué te recibiste en la Universidad Nacional de San Luis?
De licenciatura en biología molecular es mi título.
Biología molecular, nada menos. Estudiando acá en Argentina.
Sí, sí,
Excelente,
exactamente.
Tatiana. Muy bien, Tatiana. Bueno, entonces después nos volvemos a hablar acerca del tools. Romy, ¿vos también querrías hacer el hire? Sí que sí.
Ay, yo sí, Adela, pero más adelante. No
Bueno,
puedo.
yo me acuerdo. Porque era, o que te ibas a casar o que ibas a tener bebé.
No,
Una de dos.
voy a tener bebé.
Ibas a tener bebé. Nada menos.
Casamiento.
Así que, bueno, ok.
Sorry,
Bueno,
I thought I was
Excellent.
muted.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, yes. Very good.
Bueno.
Sí.
Bueno, nos vemos el jueves que viene y como siempre están invitados a la clase de mañana, te voy a volver a invitar, Tatiana, para mañana si querés, la clase de mañana que hacemos de derechos humanos en inglés. Es for free, no tienen que pagar extra y es buena práctica de seguir hablando en inglés. Así que gracias Juan Ignacio, gracias
Muchas
Romy.
gracias.
María.
Bye.
No, que no la escuchamos. Y Tatiana, te espero mañana, Tatiana, te mando el link. Bye,
Gracias.
bye.
Gracias.
Gracias a ustedes. Chao, chao.
Bye, bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
bye. Bye, bye.